you tonight again, even in another
Tom,
life.
I need to ask you something and I need you to be honest.
Okay.
When someone calls you, like your phone rings, what do you do?
I answer it.
Always?
If I know who it is,
And if you don't know the number?
I let it go to voicemail.
And if it's an important number you don't recognize?
I Google it first.
You Google the number before you call back.
Yes.
Tom, how long does this process take?
10 minutes, maybe 15.
15 minutes to decide whether to answer a phone call.
I like to be prepared.
Tom, that is not being prepared. That is being afraid of the phone.
I'm not afraid of the phone.
You Googled a number for 15 minutes
I was gathering information.
about who might be calling you.
Exactly.
That's fear, Tom. That's textbook phone fear.
I don't know about that.
Welcome back to English Next Door. I'm Mia, and today we're talking about something that makes grown adults nervous: phone calls in English.
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm not afraid of the phone.
He Googles numbers for 15 minutes before calling back.
I gather information.
This is exactly why we need this episode. Phone calls in English are genuinely scary for a lot of people, even people who speak English really well, because it's different from face-to-face conversation.
You can't see the person.
You can't see their face, you can't read their expression. It's just voices. And if you miss something, you have to ask them to repeat.
Which feels awkward.
It feels like you're admitting you didn't understand. But actually, asking someone to repeat is completely normal. Even native speakers do it.
Especially if the connection is bad.
Or if someone speaks fast. Or quietly. There are 100 reasons to ask someone to repeat, and none of them mean your English is bad.
That's true.
Okay, first, answering the phone. What do you say when you pick up?
Hello? With the upward tone, like a question.
Because you don't know who it is yet. Or for work, hello, this is Tom. Or Tom speaking.
Tom speaking is very professional.
Very professional. Slightly scary to say for the first time. I practiced it in my bathroom mirror once.
You practiced answering the phone in front of a mirror?
Multiple times. Don't judge me. It helped.
Did it?
I went from, hello? Yes? Who? To Mia speaking. That's growth, Tom. Making a call. You need to call someone. A doctor, a restaurant, a company. What's the first thing you say?
Hello, my name is Tom. I'm calling about... You introduce yourself and immediately say why you're calling.
Don't make them guess. Don't say, hi, and then pause dramatically.
That's uncomfortable for everyone.
I had a colleague who would call people and just say, hi, and then go completely silent, waiting.
Waiting for what?
For the other person to psychically understand why she was calling. Every time. Even after I knew her style, I still had that moment of panic.
That sounds terrible.
I'm calling to make an appointment. I'm calling to ask about my order. Clear, direct. The other person knows what to expect.
What about asking for someone specific?
Could I speak to... Very polite. Is Pertin available? Also good. And if they're not there?
Could I leave a message? Or could you ask them to call me back?
And then you leave your number. Slowly. Like you have all the time in the world.
I once called the doctor's office and said my date of birth so fast they asked me 3 times.
3 times.
I was nervous. The silence while someone writes. You think something's wrong, so you speed up.
Which makes it worse. The trick is, embrace the pause. The pause means they're paying attention. When you don't understand, this is the big one. Tom,
Sorry, could you repeat that? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
could you speak a little more slowly, please? Could you spell that for me? Especially for names.
Spelling over the phone is its own skill. Letters sound so similar.
B and D, M and N, P and B. This is why people say B for Bravo, D for Delta.
The NATO alphabet.
Do you know it?
Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot.
Wait, you just listed them without stopping.
I told you, I'm prepared.
Tom, you spend 15 minutes Googling phone numbers, but you have the NATO alphabet memorized.
One is about information, the other is about communication.
That is the most Tom sentence you have ever said.
Golf, hotel, India, Juliet, kilo.
He's still going. Okay, you don't need to memorize the whole alphabet, but knowing a few helps. S as in Sierra, T as in Tango. People understand immediately.
It prevents misunderstandings.
Like sitting outside in November.
We haven't gotten there yet.
We will. Real disasters. Tom, worst phone call?
I called to book a restaurant. Small place, no online booking. I asked for a table for 2 on Saturday evening.
Normal so far?
The woman said something and I didn't understand. I said, "Sorry, could you repeat that?" She repeated. I still didn't understand. "Sorry, once more, please?" She repeated again.
And?
I still didn't get it. So I said, "Yes, that sounds great."
Tom, what did you agree to?
I don't know.
You don't know?
When we arrived on Saturday, they took us to a table outside. In November.
No.
She had asked if we preferred inside or outside seating. I had said yes to outside. In November.
Why didn't you say you didn't understand?
I had already asked 3 times. It felt rude to ask a 4th.
Was eating outside in November less rude?
We stayed.
You sat outside in November because you didn't want to ask a 4th time.
We had extra bread. It was fine.
It was not fine. Lesson for everyone. There is no maximum number of times you can ask. 4 times, 5 times, it doesn't matter. Better inside than outside in November.
The bread was very good, though.
The bread is not the point. My worst call. I was canceling a subscription. I had a script written down. Hello, I'd like to cancel my subscription, please.
Smart.
I called, said my line perfectly, and the person said, "Of course, can I ask why you're canceling?"
Oh, no.
I had not prepared for a follow-up question. My mind went blank, complete silence. And then I said,
What did you say?
"I'm moving."
You're moving?
I'm not moving, Tom. I've lived in the same apartment for 3 years. But in that moment, my brain chose, "I'm moving," and sent it out before I could stop it.
Did they ask where?
No, they said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that," and processed the cancellation. And then
And then?
they said, "We hope to have you back when you're settled in your new home."
Your imaginary new home.
My imaginary new home in my imaginary new city. And I said, "Thank you, that's very kind," and hung up.
You thank them for wishing you well in a home that doesn't exist.
I felt guilty for 3 weeks. Every time I used that app, which I still had on my phone, I thought about my fictional relocation.
You could have just said, I don't need it anymore.
I know, but the brain panics and the mouth makes decisions. Always have a reason ready. I'm not using it enough. It doesn't work for me anymore. Any of these. Don't invent a move.
Unless you want 3 weeks of guilt.
Unless you enjoy that, no. Voicemail. Do you leave voicemails, Tom?
If necessary. Hi, this is Tom. I'm calling about reason. Could you call me back when you get a chance? My number is number. Thanks.
Perfect. Short. Name, reason, number, thanks. That's everything.
What do you do?
I panic. I start talking, forget what I wanted to say, ramble for 90 seconds, then say, okay, bye, 3 times.
3 times?
Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Bye. I cannot stop the goodbye.
The goodbye spiral.
It's real. You say bye, they say bye, you say bye again. Someone has to be brave enough to actually hang up.
And it's never you.
Never. Even when I started the call, what if they had something else to say?
Then they would have said it before the goodbyes started.
Logically, yes. Emotionally, I cannot take the risk. Okay, texting versus calling. Tom, when do you call versus text?
I text for everything that isn't urgent or complicated. I call when I need a real-time answer or when the information is too complex for a message.
Logical. I call people when I miss them or when I have news.
News you could text.
News that needs a reaction. A text doesn't give you the gasp, the laugh, the, oh my God, no way. You need a voice for that.
That's actually true.
Some things only work out loud.
I'll admit that.
Here's my thought for today. We're scared of phone calls because we can't see the person, but that also means they can't see us. They can't see our nervous face, our gestures, our mistakes. They just hear our voice. And our voice, if we slow down, breathe, and don't agree to outside seating in November, is enough.
That was almost poetic.
Almost?
The November part brought it down slightly.
I'm keeping it. Okay, today we talked about phone calls, answering, making calls, asking for repetition, voicemails, and the eternal goodbye spiral. And we learned that sitting outside in November is always avoidable.
Key phrases. Hello, this is Tom speaking. I'm calling about... Could I speak to... Sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't catch that. Could you speak more slowly? Could I leave a message? Could you call me back?
Use them. Practice out loud. And Tom, next time someone calls and you don't recognize the number,
I know.
answer it.
I'll think about it.
That's not yes.
No, but it's progress.
I'll take it. I'm Mia,
And I'm Tom.
and English is already next door. You just have to open the door. See you next episode.